Hello, everybody. Welcome on YouTube and on Instagram. Dr. Dion Napier with Amplify Vocal Studio. I hope you guys are doing well today. I want to do a little chat about how to make an impression. And this topic is inspired by a Nats chat that I watched maybe 2 weeks ago. It was from 2023. And it was about, the chat was called Your Best 16 Bars, Developing Successful Tools for Auditions. But there was one theme that kept coming up in this conversation that I wanted to extract and talk to you all about more, especially being opera singers and classical singers transitioning into commercial styles. So welcome to you guys on Instagram and on YouTube. If you are new to my channel, I am Dion Napier. I am a former classical singer turned contemporary style voice coach to bel canto voice teachers and professional opera singers. And I help you learn how to sing commercial music without sounding operatic, because that is a real thing. That is a struggle with lots of classical singers and voice teachers who were raised up in academia, raised up in that bel canto tradition. And now you have students who want to sing commercial music, but you feel ill-equipped or under-equipped. Those are the people that I am in the marketplace serving. So I am so glad that you guys are here. So how to make an impression. That's what I want to talk about today. So first of all, this conversation, this Nats chat was between an acting coach and a music theater industry professional. He's an accompanist and a voice teacher. And they were talking about successful tools for auditions. Sorry, I thought I saw a comment. Successful tools for auditions. And yes, of course, repertoire, song choices, how do you prepare your high school students for college auditions, all of those things that we as teachers in this academic sphere, we know that, we do that. Okay, cool. But the one thing that came up that I want to lean into is essence, what they call essence, what I call your identity, your purpose, knowing who you are, having a point of view, and bringing that into your song. That was a theme that kept coming up, right? So these professionals were saying, these young singers, teachers, when you're preparing your singers, help them figure out who they are, not what they want to be, right? Not who they think the judges or the adjudicators want them to be. Don't come in there like that, because that is not going to leave an impression, okay? They were also saying, as adjudicators and judges in auditions, they typically know within the first 10 seconds, y'all. 10 seconds, they know based on how you show up in a song, if they want to hear more, or if you are a singer that they would want to work with, you or your student. And I think that's powerful. And you may think, how can you know in 10 seconds? I believe it's because of that essence part. It's because of that spirit. It's because you come in with a specific point of view in your song. And this is beyond just acting, coaching, and things like that. And I'm going to get deeper into it. So when they use the term essence, this is how it was defined in the talk. It was defined as rich qualities and singular experiences that make a performer, they say unique. I like to say distinct, because I be getting so tired of hearing the word unique voice and all this stuff. Okay. But those rich qualities and singular experiences that make you distinct. That is what essence is. That is what these adjudicators are wanting to see from these students coming in these auditions. And you all who are coming from classical transitioning into contemporary, hey Monique, coming into contemporary, y'all, we have also got to kind of relearn, how do I bring my essence in? Why do we need to relearn that? Because you've been singing classical art songs and opera arias. That's what you've been singing in classical. Do you know? Yes, there is some room to bring in your distinctions and stuff like that, but largely you're singing the notes on the page, and it's all about the technicality and the beauty of the voice, right? But when you're singing commercial music, we don't want to hear you sounding like the celebrity that sang it. X next. Like, no. What are you bringing to this that is something interesting? Okay, so we have to train our muscles and learn how to be interesting as artists again. So this is why I'm bringing it up as it pertains to opera singers trying to transition and sing commercial music, right? So how do you make an impression? I got 4 ways, okay, to get you started. So the first thing that you can do is simply take the time, classical singers, to define your essence. What are those rich qualities and singular experiences that make you distinct? Take the time to think about it and write it down. A lot of times we are so one track in our profession and in our professional career, we forget about our story. We forget about things that make us who we are, things that we have overcome. A lot of times our wins and accomplishments are at the forefront of our mind because that's connected with our profession. But what are those personal wins? What are those private wins that you've had that aren't exactly showcased? Do you know what I'm saying? Where do you come from? Let me look at my things. What experiences have shaped you? Life experiences. You got to take the time to sit down and start unpacking that stuff. You got to start seeing yourself as more of a whole person and not just a professional opera singer or a voice teacher, okay? Because these are the things that you bring into your singing and into your artistry that make you distinct and help you to leave an impression. I hope this is making sense. We just get started, but I hope that this is making sense, okay? So again, you want to define your essence. What inspires you? I said this. What experiences shape you? Some of your greatest memories. What are they and why? What are some of your dreams? Y'all know I talk about dreams. I like to call myself a dream awakener. Okay, we're not just opera singers. We're not just teachers. There are many more things on the inside of you, many more dreams. What are those? What life lessons have you learned? What do you love? What makes you feel the most alive outside of your singing? What do you hate? Okay, what's your life story? We tapping back into story, okay, your personal story as a step to becoming a more interesting and leaving an impression. Okay, so that's the first step. Define your essence. Number 2, you want to find what I call testimony songs. Okay, you want to select 2 songs that speak to who you are at the core and can affirm that identity. So it's this thing. I was talking to I will call her a friend. She feels like a sister to me. Trinice Robinson. I was talking to her the other day, and she was kind of giving me some ideas and things too. And I want to share with you. She was like, pick songs that sound like they are your exact words. Like if you would write a song, you would use those exact lyrics, or you would pen those same lyrics. I call them testimony songs. So find a couple of songs that really mirror and align with your lived experience or the current season of life that you're in. So when I first started out, when I was transitioning from classical into contemporary, my song was Defying Gravity. And I know everybody's singing that, popular and all of that. But nah, for me, when I heard that song in a certain season of life, it was much deeper. This was in 2020. It was much deeper than just a popular hit, right? And I didn't come on here to talk about myself, but I'm just sharing openly, okay? So you guys can kind of know, like, this is the process that you've got to get comfortable going through as classical singers. We're not just staying on the surface anymore, just honoring great technique alone. That's not enough for contemporary. You're not going to leave an impression that way. Okay, so yes, there was a season of life where the lyrics of Defying Gravity was like my straight up testimony. And I know it's not a gospel song, but I'm telling you, that thing was connected with me at a spiritual level. When I thought about my choices that I'm making as a parent, the choices that I'm making with my husband in marriage, even my diet choices, what I choose to eat and not eat that goes against my family traditions. Do you know what I'm saying? This is the stuff, defying gravity, going against the norm. This was my life, okay? Choosing to be in entrepreneurship versus the traditional academic 9-to-5 professorship. Do you know? So when I began to sing this song while trying to get a more commercial tone, like I would break down and weep because it was so deep. It's like, this is what I'm living, going against that grain, receiving the rejection that comes with it, but determining in my heart, like I'm closing my eyes, I'm leaping, I'm defying gravity. For me, it's like, God, I'm going with you. I don't care about none of this other stuff. Do you see what I'm saying? So let's come back in. Find a testimony song. It don't have to be a gospel song. It can be whatever, but find a testimony song, 1 or 2, okay? That if you penned those lyrics, when you read those lyrics, it sounds like you could have penned them yourself. Okay, that's step number 2. We're talking about how to make an impression, and I'm walking you through the steps of how to build the muscle to be impressionable. Okay, because we don't want to be boring opera singers trying to sing commercial music. Nobody's gonna pay attention to you. Okay, so step number 3, practice bringing your lived experience into your song. Okay, and so what you're doing here is practicing release. Okay, you're practicing letting go. And I know you hear those terms: let go, release, be free. I understand that, but you're actually applying it. So you pick that testimony song and you drill it and you practice it. Or to even get started, you can practice imitating gospel music. Imitate gospel songs. Do you know why do I say gospel songs? Because built in to the gospel genre, honey, is testimony, your lived experience, expressing outwardly. That's what we got to get to. We got to get loose, right? So we can insert ourselves into these songs and be impressionable. So imitate gospel singers. If you need help finding gospel singers to imitate, some that came to my mind: Aretha Franklin, Dottie Peoples, Tamala Mann, old school Tamala Mann. Now you can listen to new school Tamala too, but listen to Tamala Mann on the Now Behold the Lamb, Kirk Franklin. Listen to that. Oh my God. Yolanda Adams is another one. Shirley Caesar, Daryl Coley, Andre Crouch. Listen to traditional Black gospel. You can listen to some contemporary as well, but listen to those singers. And even if you don't have the confidence to mimic and imitate, just sit yourself there and just listen and hear how they put themselves and their story, how they testify through song and through sound. Their lived experiences have a sound, and so does yours. And this was one of the biggest takeaways from our conversation with Dr. Trinice. She said it, and y'all, I about fell out of my seat. I'm getting ahead of myself, but it was so powerful. She said, when you believe something is true with your whole self, that has a sound. Classical singers, oh my God, I hope y'all are catching this. And even for your students, okay, we have to pick songs and learn how to sing things that are believable, like we believe it with our whole self, almost like a faith experience, okay? Because when you choose songs like that and you sing it with that full conviction, there is a sound that will come out of you that will touch the adjudicators, that will reach the people that are listening to you in audition. Like, you can't fake that. You can't practice that. Nobody can teach you that. That's the sound from what you've walked through and what you've lived out. I hope y'all are tracking with me. What's up, Chloe? I see you on here. I see Heather. I see Wild Women Voices. Thank you all for being here. So I hope that is making sense, you all. Okay? When you believe something with your full self, there is a sound that comes from that, and it can't be taught. Some stuff is taught, y'all, and some things are just caught. Okay? This thing, you got to catch it in your spirit and be able to show up in a room and release it. Okay? I'm going to come back in. All right. And the fourth step, okay, so after you practice, I was saying use gospel music, right? To practice, to imitate just that outward emotion. Practice that. Because a lot of y'all might not even be able, probably ain't comfortable with just being openly emotional. In the Black church experience, that is normal. Like, that's what we do. And like Dr. Trinice was saying the other day, like, if you come up there and try to sing something, you ain't feeling it, they will ask you to sit down. Like, no, you can go have a seat until you can get up here and feel it. We're not trying to hear nothing that you're saying. And that's the same expectation when you're singing CCM and when your students are singing it. You need to make us feel it. And I'm not saying everything's got to be loud and hollering and, super intense, but it needs to be believable. There needs to be conviction behind what you're presenting. I hope that makes sense. Okay. And then the fourth step, locate your natural speech sounds. If you were passionately communicating those words to someone, and allow those sounds to come into your singing. Okay, so this is like the same thing I talk about in speech level singing, right? We want to sing like we speak to make it real simple. So you're gonna do the same thing when you're going into your music. Think about how you naturally speak. So I'm gonna just do a little example from Defying Gravity. So if I were talking to my great friend Victoria, and I'm telling her, she knows some of the challenges that I'm having personally, but I'm starting to break through. I noticed that my heart is changing, my attitude is changing for the better about some things that my attitude was wrong about, or I was struggling spiritually with. And I get on the phone and I say to her, something has changed. What's the words? Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Right? I'm talking to her. I just want her to listen. I'm in a kind of quiet tone. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't need her to give me any feedback. I'm just telling her, girl, I'm breaking through. Too late for second guessing. I ain't turning back. Too late to go back to sleep. Right? Now my eyes are open. I can't go back to sleep. I can't act like I don't see what I've been shown, right? And now I'm breaking through. It's time to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts. Yes, I'm going to trust what's on the inside of me, not what culture is saying, right? Close my eyes and leave. I'm taking the plunge, right? So again, you speak through this stuff and think about naturally, how would you say it? Now, I know I just kind of sang that, but how would you say it to your best friend if that's who you're talking to? Now, it's going to vary depending on who you're talking to, but this is just my example. So I think about how I would communicate that to her on the phone, and I bring those same speech inflections into my singing. It's that simple. I'm not acting. I'm not trying to sound like somebody else who's saying Elfie. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm bringing Dion into the character based on my lived experiences and how I've overcome. I hope this is making sense. Okay. And those lived experiences have sounds. That's what I'm trying to get at. I feel like I'm talking in circles, but I hope that this makes sense to you guys. Okay. All right, so this is the way we want to approach music, y'all, as we're crossing over and as you're helping your singers cross over, your students from classical into contemporary. We want to approach it from a place of conviction, belief, lived experiences, our own essence, right? That's what we want to approach it from. Not approaching it from notes on the page first, like academia, okay? Because if you approach it the academic way, it's going to lead you to technical accuracy, yes, but without leaving an impression. You're not going to be memorable, okay? You're going to sound like an AI dummy, an AI robot. This is another reason why this is so ultra important in this day, particularly, y'all, because the rise of artificial intelligence, fake voices, all this kind of stuff, it's like, no, these people in the music industry, they want to hear a real sound. Because you coming in there singing everything technically accurate, they can get an AI dummy to do that, baby. Okay, so it's going to be important that we do this work and dig deeper. Okay, that's all I'm saying. All right, I feel like y'all got it. They want you to show up in the audition. They want your students, they want to see them in the audition. So train them how to show up as themselves in that audition, okay? And they're going to be much more likely to leave an impression, a favorable impression. Okay, it's 18 minutes in. I hope I didn't talk y'all's head off. Did that make sense over on Instagram? YouTube, replay watchers, what's up? Let me know if this made sense. If you need clarity, you can drop your questions in the chat. Let me know. Yeah, the AI dummy, Elvira, is it? Human beings, it's almost like, darn, we in competition with AI now, because they are mimicking so much human behavior and human sounds. So all that robotic classical singing, I'm singing just the pitches on the page, but not bringing your soul into the room, baby. It's game over for that. So we have to learn how to step in and bring our essence. like these people were saying in the chat, like these professionals were saying. 16, it was called the best. If you want to watch the episode, it was fantastic. It's on YouTube. It was called the best 16 bars developing successful tools for auditions. That's what it was called. But they kept bringing up essence. And so that's what I used as a diving board today. Any questions, anything else? I'm so glad you guys were here with me. Well, if you have anything that comes up, you can shoot me a DM or drop it in the comments. Otherwise, y'all have a great weekend. I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.